Recording. Hey everybody, welcome to Power Hour. Today's show, we're going to do a quick recap of the Legion Sports Fest, a preview of the Toronto Pro Show coming up this coming weekend, and a recap of the Olympia All-Star Tour with Terrence Rough Diesel Ruffin that Giles Tiger Thomas just did all over the UK. So please welcome now from across the pond in the UK, the man who just turned 49 years old, the last year of his 40s, and I hope he's going to enjoy it, Giles Tiger Thomas. Giles. Yeah. So, Giles, did you watch any of Legion at all?
Well, I saw all the highlights and the clips and everything. I was away on Newcastle for a birthday weekend, but I was catching up with everything, and I saw pretty much everything that went down. Yeah.
It wasn't the strongest lineup, but Tonio looked fantastic. Here he is, right here.
Yeah.
Do you think, because it had been a while, he hadn't competed since last spring? Do you see improvements? I've talked to guys who thought he looked worse. I think he looks as good, if not better, now than he did a year ago.
The last sort of idea I've got in my head is where he did Olympia, where he was 8th or 9th in 23.
I think he was 7th.
7th, okay, yeah. He looks as good. I've not seen any dramatic improvements, but I mean he's as good as he's ever been. Looks good, yeah. Like I said, maybe if he's had a bit of time off, you maybe do expect, kind of improvements. But I think he looks as good as he's ever looked at.
Yeah, so he's got his Olympia qualification. I don't think he's going to do anything else until the Olympia. Yeah, he kind of got. I saw people commenting, a couple trolls saying, "Well, he picked an easy show." He actually lives in Reno. He said he's 20 minutes from the venue. So why wouldn't he do this show? Silly
Absolutely. People. Absolutely. Do you know what, though? Like with Keon, I'd still like to see a bit more chest on him.
Yeah, a little bit. But, geez, he's very – you're right. There's always something, but he's very, very complete. That back is phenomenal. Condition, I'm sure for the Olympia, they're going to push a little harder on the condition.
Yeah, I've seen him slightly crisper from the back. But, his back shots, his raidable bicep, his rear lat spread. He's kind of not the same guy from the front or the side. He's kind of very, very dominant from the back.
Yeah.
But, obviously there's still room for improvements. But, he looked absolutely fantastic. And, I had him as the winner going in. I know you did the preview with Chris, sorry, Mike. So, yeah, Mike. I had him as the winner going in.
So this was one of the other talking points because Patrick Moore had just done the Cali Pro. And I think he had been like 10th place or something. He was the usual disappointing Patrick, not in shape. He's coaching himself now. I don't know if you realize that. But so supposedly what he did in that 1 week span was 36 cardio sessions in 1 week. And he dropped 15 pounds to tighten up.
In a week?
In 1 week, 15 pounds.
Wow.
So
Ron, I've heard of guys that are dropping. I'm trying to think the most I've ever heard. I remember Jay Cutler when he got 8th at the 2000 Olympia. He then went to the British Grand Prix, and I think that was at least 2 weeks after. And that was the first time you really saw Jay versus Ronnie because Jay dropped 14 pounds. Because I remember Kerry Case telling me, because Kerry was chatting to him backstage, and everyone couldn't get over how good Jay looked. And Jay said, "Yeah, I've dropped 14 pounds, or probably kilos, whatever at the time in conversion." Yeah, and he said he dropped 14 pounds for the Olympia, and he looked so much better. But Patrick doing this, that was a big shock because, it's funny, like I said on the group chat, and I said, people write these guys off like they have with Blessing in this show, and they say he should quit and he sucks and all that. And everyone's just relentless with the comments, like with the Nick Talker comments, and all it takes is one good showing and they all flip completely 180. It's just the way it is.
It's true. Literally 2 days before the show, you were still hearing Patrick Moore sucks. He should hang it up. He should retire. Now he's great. He's back. But I don't know if I'd love to see him climb his way back into the Olympia. He still would need to win a show, and I don't know where he's going to plan on doing that. But it's good to see people. We both like to be proven wrong when we say this guy's, hasn't been in shape in years. I love seeing people that I had sort of mentally written off come back and shock everybody and prove me wrong. It actually makes me happy because it gives us all hope.
Well, same here, mate. Yeah, exactly. Like last year, like this year and last year, I thought Akin, Brandon Curry, and Bonac were three guys that I honestly thought were going to be starting to be on the slide. But look what they did. They kind of clawed their way back up. But I mean, from Patrick to do that in 1 week to go from, what is he, near the bottom of the Cali. And don't forget, he was second from last. He was, 10th out of 11 at the Arnold Classic. Justin Rodriguez was 11th.
Right.
You know, so he was pretty much at the bottom of the pack there. So for him to do that in a week, that is bloody impressive. And I'm really, really happy for him, because it just shows, it's going, even in a week, a lot can happen and you can really bounce back. So I think that really speaks to these guys' mental fortitude.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at third place was Bruno Santos from Brazil. Very, very dense guy. Looks like he's on the shorter side, if I'm going to guess, but I don't know that to be true. I usually look at the size of the head in proportion to the body. But brought really good condition. He's very thick. He needs a couple things. I'd want to see more legs. I'd want to see, more width, but that's mostly a structural issue. But still, very, very solid third place here. And I was, he's a consistent guy. He's been top 5 in a few shows now.
Bruno, yeah, he looked good. I'm still not that familiar with his physique. I've not really studied his physique that much. Like I know all the rest of the guys in the top 6, I know their physique's better. Maybe I should, because he's done Olympia now. He's won pro shows, and he seems to be doing pretty well. I mean, to make top 3 and stuff. So he's consistently a top 3, top 5 guy. And like I said, he's done Olympia.
Yeah, I don't know why the Florian Pourson footage is gone, because it was up on this page before. I don't know. I'm going to go to Gilco because I want to show you. Well, here's a guy that was 5th place. I just interviewed him. He had made his pro debut at the New York Pro with 5th place. It's Kennedy Anyanwu. And he was 6th in New York Pro. He was 5th here. And I think he's got a very bright future. Look at that. Look at that shot. His front lat spread is lights out. Yeah.
Colossus Ken. Yeah, I think he delivered. I mean, obviously got was it 4th or 5th in New York Pro, and he got a good placing here. He beat Blessing, who's obviously a pro show winner and been an Olympia competitor. But yeah, I think he's probably one of the brightest young kind of rookies of 2025. He's the one that's probably going to stick in my mind for someone that's kind of got real future potential. I like his shots. The thing is, if you remember when he turned pro, I mean, it's like a completely different guy. And how long was that? Was that a year and a half ago?
It was August or September of 2023. So he took all last year off, and he put on a solid 25 pounds of muscle. He was 217 when he.
It looks it as well, and it's.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's a good.
Yeah, I mean, when he turned pro, I wasn't.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, when he turned pro, I wasn't absolutely blown away by him. But in all the updates, like I said, when I saw the updates, I didn't realize that was him. So he's really, really got to work. As soon as he got that pro card, he's really, really got to work. He's made some huge gains, and I think it's going to be interesting following this guy's career over the last couple of years. I saw a little clip of the interview you did with him as well, and he seems like quite a level-headed, sort of sensible guy, which obviously seems like quite a calm demeanor, quite an intelligent, sort of thoughtful person. So I think this is a guy to keep an eye out for the next year or two, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, Florian got 4th. He didn't even have the footage up on there, so I'm just going to skip through it because he did look good, but I don't have any footage. But I want to let's go to his page. Maybe he's got something. Yeah, so he was a very solid 4th place, Florian. He's been classic physique before, correct?
Yeah, he was open. Remember, he turned pro. I think it was 2018 or 2019 at the Portugal show. He won the amateur show. I think was it an amateur Olympia? And then the next day he went and got 4th. And I'm sure he beat Samson in that show as well.
Wow.
And he was, and then I thought he was fantastic. I thought, okay, this guy's amazing. He started working with Patrick Tour, and then he decided to go classic. And I was like, no, because I thought this guy had serious open pro potential. He did classic, and I imagine he must have really, really struggled to get classic. Because I mean, just the weight alone in those legs must be crazy. So when I heard he was coming back to open, I was really, really happy. And I think he looked absolutely fantastic. I love his condition. I love the thickness of his shoulders, the stripiness. I mean, the legs are just they're probably in the top 5 best legs in the pro league and certainly in the open right now. His lower half reminds me a bit of Dennis Wolf, but with better calves.
Yeah, it's funny that yeah, he's I looking at him now, I don't know how he made classic. He must have dropped a lot of muscle to do it.
Well, I spoke to Patrick, and he said, "Oh, he's at that age where he doesn't want to be like, do what he has to do to kind of get up to the off-season weights." He said he doesn't feel it's healthy. He doesn't feel like it's something he wants to put his body through. But then obviously, I think he must have put his body through a lot trying to make it down to classic. So maybe he's weighed it up. He's seen that his body wants to grow and just thought, sod it, I'm going to have to go back to open. Like when Derek Lunsford went from 212 to open, he tried to hold his body weight back, but his body just wanted to grow. And in the end, they just kind of went, oh, well, they just kind of give in and say, okay, I'll just let my body do what it wants to do. But I would like to see more back on him, but I'm sure he's aware of that. But when he really balances everything out, I think he's. Look at that. He's really good, and he's only a young guy,
I think look at, he's got a Boston Red Sox hat on. 10 extra points. That's a baseball team out of Boston. If you don't know that.
Okay. Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware.
Well, you never know. I don't want to assume anything. So the only other big talking point was Blessing, and unfortunately, he's getting it piled onto him right now. People are just being merciless. He had almost 2 years away. The last time we saw Blessing on stage was the Flex Pro weekend. You were there, I think. When was this? I'm not even sure. Was he in the Olympia one year? I guess he was. I forgot.
Yeah, he's on Olympia.
Yeah. So this.
Do you remember when he had a go? Remember I interviewed him at the 2022 Olympia, and I did the interview, and he had a go at me, and he said, "Giles, you're a Brit. I'm a Brit. Why didn't you have me in your top 10?" And I just kind of laughed. I just kind of laughed, and I was just like really awkward. And he put his arm around me, and I know he's trying to play the persona, but you could see he was trying to be like a bit intimidating, like pissed off with me and stuff. And he was like, he was looking in my eye. You could see he was quite annoyed by it. And I was just like, well, tough luck, mate. It's just what I said. And he didn't end up making top 15, but I think he was just playing the persona. But he has done the Olympia in 22. I'm not sure if he's done Olympia after that. I might have. To be honest, mate, when I saw the lead up pictures and the videos, I didn't see any changes. When he was really big and heavy, and they were saying, do you think that Blessing's made any improvements? And I personally didn't see any improvements. The thing is, he had body fat as well, so it's even more hard. It's more difficult to try and see if there are any areas that he's improved. But I feel disappointed for him. But look what Patrick Moore did. That's the thing we have to go back to. Because that's the Indie Pro. That's when he kind of looked his best.
Yeah.
That's when he beat Charles Griffin. That was in. Hang on a minute. That was in when I was in hospital bed. 22. Yeah. 22. Yeah, I remember following the show from my hospital bed on my phone. So that's kind of what Blessing is capable of. And the thing is, he had George Farrar as a coach. Now he's got Boss of Outlaw. Now, Boss of Outlaw is not someone who's known for slipping with his athletes. So what I think will happen, I can see him maybe doing 1, 2, maybe even 3 more shows, and I think he'll just get better with each one. That's what I predict will happen.
Yeah, people are throwing Boss under the bus, saying, "Well, he's got too many clients. He's a bad coach now."
No.
He had like half the Olympia and half the Arnold Classic lineup with clients. So I think what happened is exactly what you said. He got too heavy. He carried that body fat for a long time. It was a very long off season, and they just couldn't get it off fast enough. He was behind. So Dubai is 3 weeks away. He could look way better there. There's a show like every weekend for the rest of the year leading up to the Olympia.
I think it's better for him to do. All he has to do. I'll be honest. He's not going to qualify for the Olympia. That's not going to happen. He's not going to win Dubai. He's not going to beat the likes of Rubiel and Behruz and guys like that. So all he has to do is have one really, really good appearance. So it doesn't matter about the placing because, like I said, if you put qualification aside now, all he has to do is look a lot better than he did at this show, which I think is probably quite easy to happen. So if he comes in, at least then he can, like what Wesley did at Detroit after the Arnold Classic. He didn't look as good at the Arnold Classic. He'd had that poor appearance at the Olympia where he didn't we kind of expect him to make top 3. But then, and even if he didn't, even when Wesley didn't even win Detroit, he still looked really, really good. And I think that sometimes is as important, if not more important, than getting a win.
Yeah, what's weird is there were photos up, and they're all gone of him on stage.
Really?
Yes, I don't know who took them down or why.
On his, you mean?
No, not just on his, like on the Gilco page.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird. I mean, what does that tell you?
I mean, because you saw those posts where people were slamming him, and you saw the high resolution images that people were using.
Yeah,
those weren't iPhone shots from the fourth row. Those were legit. So I'll check one more time. It should be on Legion Sports.
Yeah. No, if he goes and does Dubai, he just has to look better. Even if he gets 5th or 6th, it doesn't matter as long as he doesn't look like kind of how he did at Legion.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. People have short memories. It just takes one good showing.
I know.
And everyone.
Otherwise, it's going to be a disastrous kind of comeback year for him, really.
I mean, he can't stop now. If he stops now, I think that's a very bad idea because that's what people are going to remember. This guy was gone. He came back and he looked awful. That's all they're going to remember. But he needs to fix it before people get that in their head.
And I know he's a personality, but I know he's got a decent contract with Muscle Tech. And but don't forget what happened with Redcon; they'll just drop you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Nothing.
They're ruthless. These companies are ruthless. You know what it's like. You've worked for publishing companies and supplement companies, and you know the sort of what these companies can be like. And the thing is, it'll be written into their contract. You have to do this to maintain your contract. Otherwise, we can't. We reserve the right to release you. It's literally written in their contracts. So these guys, plus he's got a baby as well. He's got a partner. So sometimes that actually helps some bodybuilders, and sometimes it can actually impede them a little bit. But like guys like Regan and Sean Clarida, I think it actually helps them because I think it gives them more purpose and focus. But for some guys, some people, it can be detrimental to their careers. But more often than not, it's actually beneficial. What I found anyway.
Yeah, and he's got that personality, and he's very popular on YouTube and Instagram. So whether he competes or not, it does well, and I think he's still very beneficial for a supplement company for exposure, and he's got a huge fan base. But
yeah,
I personally, being greedy here, I want to see him come back. I'm trying to get an interview with him. He said he would do, and we'll see if it comes up this week. I want to see him come back and just look really good. That's all I want to see.
So it'd be 4 weeks between Legion and Dubai.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is that. As you know, from how he looked at Legion, 4 weeks should be enough to really, really turn things around. Because look what Patrick Moore did in 1 week. So if Blessing, thing is, if he blows it in Dubai, like I said, regardless of the placing, if he comes in not looking good in Dubai, then it's going to be disastrous. But all I hope for him is that he turns up looking good, and that's it. Forget the placing.
Yeah. So the winner at the Cali Pro a couple weeks ago was Regan Grimes, defeating Sasan. We'll get into that, but he's going to keep going. We're starting the Toronto Pro section of the show now, guys. So this is Regan. I thought his condition was pretty good. His tan, he does not seem to be able to maintain a good stage tan because at New York, he came out and it was fine. Then it sort of melted off of him. It dripped. It did not stick to his skin. So for Cali, he had his wife do some different type of tanning product, and
didn't work.
He still didn't look. He still looked muddy. It was the worst tan. That's why I thought Sass was going to get him at Cali, but it didn't happen. But here he is. This is a recent update from last night. He's doing Toronto because obviously he's a Toronto area native. Doesn't need to do it. He's got his Olympia qualification. Doesn't need the money, but here he is. But we like to see that, Giles. We like to see these guys keep going, huh?
I think he'll win Toronto. To be honest, Regan's actually been probably the biggest surprise of 2025 so far for me. I thought he looked really, really good in New York because it was very close between him and Crizzo for third place. I know Crizzo beat him, but I mean, many of us had, is Regan going to get 30th? So to be battling out with guys like that, honestly, because I thought that in my head, I thought Regan wouldn't come close to someone like a Crizzo, but he did. He really, really did. And I think he looked absolutely fantastic at Cali. Because the thing is, we didn't see many updates, but what I did see, I was like, oh, okay, I think he's trying to hide his condition here. I think he's in trouble. I didn't hear any gossip or buzz or anything. No one was really mentioning him of like, have you seen how Regan's looking? So for me, like I said on Power a few weeks ago, I honestly thought he was going to be a disappointment, but he proved me wrong. So I'm really, really happy. In fact, I saw this update today, and he looked absolutely phenomenal. I mean, his back shots, I think this is probably the best Regan we've ever seen. I mean, certainly the back shots are just flawless. The radial bicep, rear lat spread, that front lat spread looks sensational. Obviously, he still needs like more chest and legs or whatever. But I mean, in terms of what he's done with his physique, I didn't expect him to look this good, and I'm really, really happy for him. And also thanks to him for sticking up with him and Jay sticking up for me on their podcast recently. Thanks, Regan.
Good dude. Yeah, I want to go to the posing because people were kind of giving him crap for they didn't think he made much improvement because he had been gone for quite a while. He hadn't competed since the end of 23.
I've got remember he did the Italy show and he beat Nathan. I'm trying to think that's in my head was it the Flex Pro? I think that was kind of the best I've seen him. But I'd have to go and directly compare them. But I think this was possibly the best Regan we've seen. I don't remember him ever looking much better than this. But the fact is, aside from the tan's not too bad in that picture because obviously the lights look very bright there. I think he looks great. I think he's I mean, I'm not. He's not someone I would consider as a Mr. Olympia in the next couple of years. I know Jay Cutler thinks he could be, but I think he looks fantastic. And and I think he's probably quite smart doing Toronto. He can pick up an extra win, and it's always nice to go into the Olympia as a 2 pro show winner because I don't think there's anyone really to challenge him in Toronto. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. I mean, he's been a top 10 Olympia guy. That obviously sets you apart from all the others. Could he make top 10 again in this Olympia this year, do you think? I mean, I could see him possibly in the top 10, but then we'd have to really look at the names who are doing it for that to happen, mate. I
found the Florian footage. I just want to give this guy some good credit because he did look really good. Look at those quads.
No, Blitz. Sorry, my cat's got a big mouse. Oh my God, Blitzy, don't bring it in here, please. Oh, it's dead. Sorry,
well,
it's dead.
Admire Florian while Giles deals with his rodent problem.
Yeah. God, Florian looks good here, man.
Yeah, I just want to give him props. He's not doing Toronto. I don't know why he didn't do Toronto.
I wonder what he's doing next then, because maybe he's doing one of the European shows, or is he shutting it down? Look at his shoulders as well. He's got I think he's got some of the best shoulders and legs in the pro league right now. I mean, look at the density. If he gets that density in his chest and back, like he's got, and also in his arms that he's got in his shoulders and his legs, I mean, this guy's really going to move up.
Yeah, my only knock on him is the back. I think everything else is almost exactly where it needs to be. So now we go to Sasan, the UK's Sasan Heirati. I hope he doesn't set a record for most second place finishes in one season. Although if we go back in history, I bet there's guys in the Grand Prix tours there were probably guys who did a dozen second places in 1 year. But Sas has Detroit. He took second to William Bonac. FIBO show, second to Andrew Jacked. And now at the Cali Pro, he was second again to Regan Grimes. And now he's going up against Regan again in Toronto on Sunday. So condition-wise, I thought he was in better condition than Regan. His stage color, the tan, was far superior. But still, Regan basically won on structure and on the back shots.
Yeah.
What do you think Sas could possibly do to edge him out in the next?
I don't know. I'm not sure he can get any better than Cali because I thought he peaked really, really beautifully for Cali. I thought he looked really, really, really good because he was better than he was at FIBO and Detroit. He kind of just got better with each show. So I'm just wondering if he can get better again because I didn't think he could get better than the FIBO show, but then he kind of got better again for Cali. So I'm just wondering if he can do that again. I'm not sure. I think maybe. And the thing is, you could once you reach your peak, the only way is down after that. So if that is the best he can be in Cali, is he not going to be as good? Is his body going to be burnt out, or is he going to be better? So I'm really, really curious to see. But I can see him. I don't know. I think Regan's on a roll right now, and I think Regan's going to look better than he did at Cali as well. So I very, very shocked if Sasan beat Regan here. But obviously I'm rooting for him because he's a cool guy and it's nice to see him back. But I mean, Regan didn't blow him off the stage.
No.
But like you said, the structure of Regan and those back shots are just so dominant.
Yeah, because you could see here the condition on Sas was superior.
Yeah.
Regan looks like yellow here. This tan, I don't know what he's going to do to fix it.
It looks like 23 Hadi tan. Remember I criticized Hadi for his tan at the 23 Olympia when Derek took the title off him. Like you come on, it's like a yellow color, and I hate that yellow color because if there's so many professional tanners backstage, and like when you're at the top level, I mean, actually, when Hadi did that, he was Mr. Olympia until Derek was announced Mr. Olympia, and people say, oh, it shouldn't matter, the posing shouldn't matter, the this shouldn't matter. It's like, yeah, but these small details add up, and if it is close, and you've literally got like a tie situation like with Derek and Nick, from the show the other week. Then Pittsburgh, then these things can play. They can, like you said, if it's 0.5% or 1% and they're neck and neck, then it's these small details become quite major details because it's the difference between first and second.
100%. I mean, the scorecards didn't indicate how close these two were because I believe Regan got a perfect score.
Yeah, I think so. I think I saw that.
I was actually surprised Sasan didn't get at least a couple votes.
Really?
Maybe the high and they dropped the high and the low score, so. Maybe that's where he would have gotten one of the second place.
Yeah. I mean, look, the difference obviously in the legs, but each physique has their own, attributes and sort of weaknesses, if you want to say. But like I said, I wouldn't have been, shocked if they'd given it to Sasan. I wouldn't have been disgusted by it, but I did think Regan was going to win that one just based upon the prejudging photos.
Yeah. So we do have some people coming over from Europe. Let's find where I put them. Talk about Mozilla, Andrea Muzzi, because there's two Andreas from Italy. There's Presti and there's Muzzi. So Muzzi's heading over to Toronto. Look at the graininess on the legs. I love seeing that. That's awesome.
Look at that.
Good job. That's quality muscle right there.
Yeah. I'm happy to see him back actually because he's been going well. I can remember him in 2020 up against James Hollinshead, and he's always like second to fifth, And I know sometimes when he does like 4 or 5 shows in a row, like maybe on the last one he dips down, and then sometimes he drops out of the top 5 or the top 6. But when he's on, I mean, he's a really really big guy, but when he's absolutely bang on, he's pretty impressive. So I think he's obviously be a first call-out guy, looking at this lineup. But it'd be interesting to see if he's made any improvement because sometimes with him, it's all how he looks from the back because he's got a huge back, but sometimes the detail and the conditioning isn't consistent as it is from the front or the side. And you always lacked a little bit of chest, but his legs, his back are huge. He's got he's a big guy. I mean, he takes up a lot of room on stage. So I'm really hoping that he's made improvements because there was only a small couple of tweaks he needed to make to his physique, and then there's a guy that's, competitive. I mean, for a win in any contest he does.
Yeah. I mean, look at the lat spread. You can see the structure, the mass.
Yeah. He's huge.
It's funny. It took me a couple months to distinguish between the Andreas, Presti and Muzzi, but I got to tell you, they're actually two very different people. They're not clones or anything like that.
Yeah, one's got big legs and the other one lacks legs.
Yeah, that's right. Presti needs more legs. You're right. Another big dude headed there is Aaron Gawley. God, I'm.
Oh, Aaron Gawley. Yeah. He's like 300 pounds on stage.
Mutilating names left and right lately, but yeah, look at that. This was Cali Pro, Cal State Championships, which confuses me because it sounds like it's a state level show. It's not.
Have you ever seen him in the flesh? I've not, but I've interviewed him, and I remember just when he came on the screen, I can remember just shoulders and traps. I mean, I think he is something like 300 pounds on stage? I mean, he's an absolute. I mean, look at the size of his head. I know he stood forward of like Patrick, but look at the physical size of that guy, like his hands, everything, his joints. I mean, he's an absolute monster, and I think he's pretty well put together as well.
I think I saw him. One of those years, I was covering the Toronto Pro for MD. They have a pro qualifier the day before, and almost every time the winner will go on to the pro show the next day. And I think that's where I saw him. I think he made like top 5 at the Toronto Pro that year. I'm not sure, but
he's good. He's really good. I mean, and he gets good condition as well. So he's big, he's conditioned, and he's a proper open guy. He's a proper monster.
All right. So they have a pretty decent 212 lineup, and top of the list for me as far as who I think has the best chance of winning. Francisco Barrios. I got to get this right. Is it Vic or VLK? It looks like a
Volk. Volk. I think he told me once in an interview, and I said, "What is that VLK?" And he says Volk.
Well, shouldn't there be a vowel in there somewhere?
I don't know. He did tell me. I completely forgot what he said now.
Yeah. But we knew him as Francisco Barrios. This Vilk is a more recent addition to the name. But look at that. There he was, because he had his toughest competition was Angel Calderon Frias, who that's a tough guy to beat as a 212. He's been
that is a major scalp to take that. I mean, imagine taking out a guy who's consistently top three. I mean, really, the top three at the Olympia until one of them gets bored is going to be Keon, Sean Clarida, and Angel Calderon. But now you've got guys like Francisco at a big show like the New York Pro beating an Angel Calderon. That makes it a little bit more interesting, and that makes him kind of probably coming into the Olympia very, very confident, because now he's thinking, shit, I've beaten a guy who's been second to the Olympia here, and a very consistent bodybuilder that he wasn't off in New York. So for him to beat a caliber of a bodybuilder like Angel Calderon, that is huge. I mean, I think that actually is more impressive than the win itself.
Yeah, because like you said, if he beat Angel here, who's to say he's not going to beat the Olympia too?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really, he must be thinking in his head, right? Shit, okay. Because he's always consistent. I've never seen him off condition. He's probably thinking, shit, I'm a shoo-in for top 5 here, maybe even top 3. Because imagine if he could stay ahead of someone like Angel Calderon and snag third. Because I'll be honest, in the 212, apart from that Nihat, the 22-year-old Turkish kid, apart from him, I'm not seeing any major new talent coming into 212 in the last couple of years. So for me, I think it's but Francisco is one of those guys that could probably gate crash certainly the top 5, maybe even the top 3 if he can stay ahead of Angel.
Yeah, it's he's been we've been watching this young guy for years get better and better. All he really needed was the size, condition. He's said the same coach for the whole career, the whole pro career, which I think is a bonus, because Patrick Tour obviously knows this guy's body inside out.
I saw him turn pro in Spain. I was doing the live stream. I was watching the amateur. What was that, 2021, I think?
Yeah.
2021. Yeah, I got 21 in my head. And he was where he because there was him and Rob Cannon. They both got their pro cards. Was it 21 or 23 or 22? Yeah. I can't. Well, it's one of those years anyway. But I've got the videos all still on my phone.
It's hard for me to believe you didn't get that, because you know the years like
I know. Is it 22? I was obviously indisposed. I think it was 2021. I think it was the NPC European in 21.
Okay.
Possibly. Maybe even 23.
I don't blame you, because there's so many of those shows and they have like similar names, and so many of them are in Spain that, I get confused, and I can imagine you would, because
it was 20. It was. I'm sure it was August or June 21.
Okay, cool. Another guy I think is going to be a top guy, a first call out. Cody Drobot, not a robot, it's a Drobot. That's the coolest name. So here he was at New York. Oh no, I get confused. I think it's posing footage, but they're just showing a montage. But Cody's another guy that's very complete, gets conditioned. I don't think he's probably going to be beating Francisco, but he'll be giving him a good run for the money. This was a week ago.
I like his physique. I really rate him, actually. I think he's got a really good shape. Nice to see him doing more shows as well. Prepped by Neil Hill. Very, very consistent, always in condition. Good shape. I think he's solid. I think there's a guy that I'd like to see maybe keep going, because I'd like to see him in the Olympia, because I think he could be a top 10 guy.
No, I'm sure he has every intention. I thought the point system was tedious. I didn't like it because it involved mathematics. But now I'm thinking maybe they should bring it back, because what if Sasan gets second again here in Toronto? That's 4 second places. That definitely would have given him enough points to go to the Olympia, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, there's a situation where there's an athlete that but then again, if you're getting beat by all these different guys, and then again, they are top guys. He's not being beat by, he's been beaten by Andrew Jack, William Bonac, Regan. These are all top 10, top 6 Olympia guys.
Yeah.
So it's who's to say he couldn't get in the top 10. Personally, I think he's like 11th to 15th guy. But the thing is, you've still got to get to the Olympia in the first place. I mean, remember what I said about Crizzo? And I said, remember I said to you, I think I said to you maybe on here or offline, I said, Crizzo needs to choose better shows, because he's not going to win Pittsburgh. He's not going to win New York. And then look what happened. And he doesn't like traveling. So there's 3 reasons why I thought he might not get to the Olympia, because there he's gone, he's burnt out now, and he's come off. Well, he's not burnt out, but he wants to come off prep, and now we're not likely to see him at the Olympia. We're going to see him in Prague now. So a bit disappointing, really.
Well, you'll be in Prague anyway, so you'll see him.
I've just been announced as they literally messaged me yesterday. So, but things, that's what I'm saying, guys. You need to choose your shows carefully. Choose shows that you know you can win, especially if you're if you like, see, Crizzo's been 7th at the Olympia. Now go to a show that you can get a qualification. You know, and look at who's doing it, rather than doing these big shows because your sponsors are pressuring you to do so. But so Cody now, I mean, unlikely he's going to beat Francisco. But I hope he does another one, because, like I said, I would definitely like to see him at the Olympia. You know,
there's not a lot of 212 shows, but I'm sure there's a show out there that he would win. It's just you got to be strategic, and then they get called out for, you're picking the easy shows. You know what? Why would you intentionally, if only the winner of the show is going to go to the Olympia, why would you intentionally compete in a show where like a top 3 Olympian is going to be there?
Look, I mean, people give Andrew Jack shit for jumping into FIBO and saying it's an easy qualifier and coming in like not at his best. It's like, but now he's like, weeks ago now, he can go straight into an off season, try and make some improvements and then get the Olympia prep. Why keep competing, trying to get a qualification? You know, it goes back to the whole Vito thing of after he won Arnold Brazil. What was the benefit to doing more and more shows when you should really be shutting it down and trying to get ready and make an impact at the Olympia? That was my point.
Right. Yeah, you did have a point there. It took. I don't want to revisit that.
Don't start.
Yeah. But here's a guy that we haven't seen for a little while, but we both rate him highly. Courage Opara.
Yeah.
I've seen him a few times. I saw him winning the Texas Pro one time when I was out there for that. He looks. This is recent. This is a week ago, and much bigger version, because we saw him take, I think, 4th at the Arnold a few years back.
Was that 2018? I've got 2018 in my head at the Arnold Classic. I remember being sat at the front. I remember thinking, God, I really like this for guys' physique. But like Madelman, there's another guy who went from Classic to 212 who's kind of looks like he's going to do really well. And also for me, it's not just about, they want to grow and they can't make the weight cap. It's what weight does their physique look best at? What category? And as a 212, I'm interested to see if his physique looks so much better. Because sometimes you see like 212 or Classic move up to open, or Classics move to 212, and they put all this size on and they don't quite look as good. And other guys like Derek Lunsford, when he went from 212 to open, I mean, that was an experiment that paid off, because he ended up winning the Open Olympia.
And another thing to consider is Classic is getting a lot more exposure than 212. It's a more publicized, hyped up division. So for him to move to 212 when he was doing very well in Classic, just tells you his body, like I said, he's a young guy too. His body just probably wanted to grow, and the Classic weight cap was just not working for him anymore.
I mean, some guys can make a weight cap easily, and they've got 7-8 pounds to spare and look amazing and do well. Other guys, they have to really torture themselves and really suffer to get down. And imagine doing that and then thinking in the off season, I've got to be careful I don't put any muscle on, because otherwise I'm just going to have to diet it all off the next time. So maybe he was just at that stage where he just thought, you know what, I don't want to keep holding back, because as a bodybuilder, you want to bodybuild, you want to progress, you want to put on muscle, and sometimes the body just wants to grow. Remember, we spoke to Derek Lunsford's wife at the Olympia seminar, and she said, Giles, he was eating kale salads and his body weight was still going up. She said, he's just like, his body was screaming, let it grow, feed me, I want to grow. There's no way you're going to make 212 again. And, sometimes it pays off, and sometimes with some bodybuilders, it doesn't. We see bodybuilders going from Classic to Open, back to Classic again. Yeah. We see this all the time. Joe Semmer, I thought Joe Semmer was going to make a great Open Pro. He got 4th in his first Open show, and then he switched to Classic, and I was like, no, this is a really bad idea. Well, look how wrong I was there.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I would have assumed the same thing. I always assume if somebody downsizes, it's going to be a bad idea, but Joe Semmer.
Not always. Every bodybuilder is different. The way they progress, the way their physique, the way they like to train. And the thing is, now he can, because I imagine he's probably, I don't know, maybe is he probably under the 212 limit, quite under comfortably without having to stress. So he's probably enjoying his training more. He's probably excited to see what he can unveil as a 212, because it doesn't even look like the same guy that we saw as a Classic guy just a few years ago.
Yeah, if it weren't for the hair and the glasses, I don't think I'd know it was him.
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I would. If you just show me that video, maybe the front wall bicep, I might have spotted it. I would have thought, oh, that looks familiar, but I might not have been able to pinpoint it.
Yeah. So we have another guy who was a 212 who is moving down to classic. I don't mean down like it's a step down, but it's a down in
Across,
body weight.
across. We don't say down or up. We say across.
Okay, thank you. I need the right terminology here. So this is Mahmoud Al-Dura. Most people just know him as Dura. I think he's he's in Canada. I'm not sure if it's Montreal or Toronto, but he has moved down or moving across to classic. He did very well. I remember at the I know he's won shows, but I was at Toronto one year when it came down to him and Zane Watson. I think it was like a 1 or 2 point decision, and I think it could have gone either way.
Oh wow!
But I'm very curious to see what he looks like as a classic. So this is a physique update. He's not as thick as he was. I see. He's definitely lost some size, but he had to. He was like, I believe he was right at the 212 limit. And
didn't he say he had health issues? Because I know he talks about gear a lot, and he was telling me he's on a. I remember watching a clip of him, and he was talking about the kind of dosages and how he didn't want to compete again. And he didn't want to have to take that much gear, and it sounded a lot actually. It sounded like he was pushing the envelope a little bit. And was I hearing right that he had some health issues, or he just didn't want to, or he was worried about health issues, or? Because I was really happy to see that he was jumping into classic actually, because I thought he was all done. I thought he was retired.
Yeah, I don't want to confirm or deny it, but it sounds very familiar. And I do know that he is one of the most successful online coaches of all the pros out there.
Yeah, so the car he drives.
He speaks Arabic, and he's got a ton of people in the Middle East as clients. That lifestyle clients are the way to go. We had some DMs one time talking about working with regular people versus bodybuilders. And I think most online coaches would say regular people are the way to go. People that just want to look better, feel better, because bodybuilders, they will dump a coach in a heartbeat and they'll blame you.
Needy as well. People ask me, because obviously I got myself in really good condition, and I know it, and I have a lot of knowledge, but I've been asked a few times over the years, would we have a coach? And I just say, absolutely not. It's not something I'm even remotely interested in. I wouldn't want the stress, and to be honest, I'm too hardline anyway. I'd probably piss them off or make them cry every day.
So there's some shots from 4 days ago. He's got that diet face.
Cool.
Did you see the post where people? I don't know. It was one of those beyond. There's all these Instagram pages. Why are we seeing so many puffy faces now?
Well, it's been like that for probably 10, 15 years, isn't it? You and I know why that is as well.
Yeah, well, this guy does not have a puffy face, so.
I like the death. I like that. I used to wait at the hotel back in the 90s at the British Grand Prix. I used to wait at the hotel because I knew what time they usually come in about 11 o'clock from the previous day, and I'd literally watch them all walking in. Kevin Navarone, Charles Clement, Paul Dillette, Chris Cormier, Vince Taylor, and I'd watch them all walking in, and I'd be like, "He's in condition. He's not. He is. He's not." And I was always right. By the time I saw him on stage a few hours later, I was always bang on. Purely because I remember Kevin Navarone walked in one day because he used to get the really good skull face. And then one time I watched him walk in, and he looked big in his clothes because his face wasn't full, and that was the year when he still got third. I mean, but you could tell he wasn't in the same sort of condition or the same sort of same condition.
We'll put it this way: nobody is going to have a death face. Sorry, we don't want to call it that. A skull face.
Death face. Come on.
Yeah, I think after we lost all those people a couple years, but anyway, no one's going to have a face that's so drawn and emaciated looking like that without a corresponding spectacular condition all over the physique.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I've done the same thing. If I walk around and I see people before a show, I look at the faces and go, "Oh, wow, he's definitely in shape."
And another way is to see if they look big in their clothes, because if the guys look big in their clothes, that usually tells me that they haven't sucked it down enough. I remember being with Kamal backstage at a show in Greece years ago, and he walked in with his tracksuit, and he had the sort of sucked in face. And no one was paying attention to him. And do you know what? Even when he stripped off and he was tanning, just walking around, not posing, no one was paying attention to him. And then as soon as he got on stage and he hit a pose, everyone was just like, holy shit, who is that? And it's funny because he was practically invisible backstage. I was there with him. Crazy. It's crazy. It's like, I can imagine like Lee Labrada when he just stood there relaxed backstage. I bet, you can imagine just sort of pumping up or whatever. I bet no one paid attention to him. And then when they get on stage, holy shit.
Well, talking about Kamal, I'll never forget the time he won the Arnold, but the night before he won the 212 at the Arnold. It was I think that was his first show as an IFBB
2018 Arnold Classic. It was the first 212 because Jim Manning got him his pro card, and he said go and do. And so he basically Kamal decided to do the first 212 show of the year, and that was the Arnold Classic. And then he went and won it. And remember, Charles Dixon was second, and Samir Trudy third.
But I mean, remember at the meet and greet, you're like, let's interview this guy. I'm like, I looked at him, I'm like, Giles, why are we? I thought you were just doing the guy a favor, like he's a friend of his. He just wants to give him an interview.
Oh, no, he's good. He's good. Check it out. And then he was chatting to me. He said, Giles, I've never looked like this. I'm working with Chris Acito. He said, Giles, I've never looked like this. And he looked around because there was no queue at his booth and he didn't have any photos or anything with him. And he pulled his baggie down slightly and he just flexed his leg. And I went, oh, and he said, look at that, Giles. I've never looked like this. He said, I've never been this big and full before. And I said, oh, well, good luck tomorrow. I think you'll do well. I think you'll shock them. And I said to you and Steven, I said, this guy will probably be top 3. I said, you watch.
And you were right, as usual. So I forgot to mention this guy in the open. He's making his debut. He just turned pro over in Mexico. He's known as I guess influencer would be the right word. 1.7 million followers on Instagram. Wow. I think he's huge on YouTube as well. And he did what most of these influencers don't do. He put it on the line and competed. You know, obviously he could have been harder from the back, but
hang on, that's why he was getting so much hate on the comments. So it's because he's an influencer. Because I was looking and I was thinking, why are people being so negative about this guy? And it's because he's influenced. Because what's his name? Larry Wheels did the other week, and I started commenting. I was reading all these comments. I'm thinking, okay, this is the best he's ever looked. And everyone has just been like all these just like pussy boys just ripping the shit out of it. And I was just like, whoa, guys, what are you talking about? It's the best Larry Wheels I've ever seen. He looks really good. The condition's good. He's improved his physique from when he did the Nationals a few years ago. And then I've cottoned onto it now because I saw this morning somebody said he's an influencer, and it makes perfect sense now because it's always those little trolls online that watch stuff on YouTube and they want to pick holes and they want to, like someone said, oh, he's not even in good condition. Look, he hasn't even got ripped glutes. And it's like, mate, the guy's an absolute monster. He's just turned pro and he's got a physique that only you and your wettest dreams could dream of.
Yeah, you know,
it's pathetic.
I agree. So, you know, structurally, I could see some issues with him, but again,
he's awesome.
He's a big guy there. I mean, he's with Hani there. What's Hani doing what the heck is that? I mean, Hani doesn't waste his time on schmucks, put it that way.
And it's nice to see an influencer with a really, really fucking good physique as well, because he's an absolute monster. You know, I mean, like any physique, you can sort of critique it and, you know, say, well, this should be better, that could be better, that can be improved on. But, you know, he's just turned pro, so he's kind of he's back to the bottom now. He's in a new arena. So he's obviously got improvements he can make, and he's not going to look out of place on that pro stage this weekend. No way.
Yeah. And again, you know, I give credit to any of these influencers who are making a very good living through social media. There's absolutely no need for them to put themselves out there on the line for public scrutiny.
Exactly.
Where they know they're going to get slammed just because they're successful and people are going to hate them just for that.
I mean, Sam Sulek, went hugely up. I never really followed him anyway, but you know, I just used to see his stuff. I think, oh, it's cool. Kid's doing well. He's young. He's making loads of money. He's doing really well. He seems to be doing what he loves. And then when he competed, I was like, God, good on him. And then he went to the Arnold Classic. I thought, do you know what? That takes real balls to do that. And the fact that he went and won those 2 shows, and it kind of then you kind of appeal to the sort of the old school crowds like us, like the you know, the ones that think, you know, that kind of judge the bodybuilders that compete a little more higher than we do of the, you know, the influencers who just basically look amazing in the gym, but they don't actually, you know, they never actually step foot on stage, you know. So, I know I got a lot more credit when I started competing, even though I was quite a big guy, you know, for years. You know, I definitely gained a lot of credibility when I competed. So, and looked decent, you know.
Yeah. So I got one last person I want to mention because I don't know if you know, I did some of those posing clinics out at a gym in Worcester called Uncaged Fitness.
Cool.
And I handled all the male competitors for the most part. There were actually a couple of guys helping, but this woman, Robin, is 59 years old. 59 years old, women's physique pro. She didn't even start training, I think, until she was in her 40s.
Wow.
Looks fantastic. Yeah, you would never, she's a coach. You would never know. Up close, there's not one wrinkle on her face. Because what do I say, Giles? Black don't crack. That's true. I do say that.
But I'm honestly, like at 59, usually you can see they got like a wrinkle around the knees or they got loose skin, but like her skin looks really, really tight. That tells me she stays in good condition all year round because, you know, and even before she started training, I bet she wasn't like overweight, you know?
Oh, she was.
Looks,
look at that fat. Look at that face.
She's not fat though. She's not like 300 pounds. I mean,
no, she wasn't like morbidly obese.
Look at the skin. The skin looks really, really. Skin looks like that of a 25-year-old.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
they call it amazing. Yeah, I wish her the best of luck. She'll be doing open masters. This show has open and masters for everyone.
Nice.
So okay, stop sharing.
Playing on those chins there. My God. Flying that one, she was like she was bloody on a bloody bungee.
Correct. So everybody, the show is actually on Sunday. It's not a Saturday show. All the information is on this website, TorontoProShow.com, for the schedule, the live stream, all that good stuff. And now let's turn our attention to. Are you keeping track of how many All-Star Olympia tours you've done, Giles?
No, I think it's about 12 now.
Yeah, you might want to just take a little piece of paper and write it down, just out of curiosity.
Well, I did 6 last year, two this year, 8, and then I did Ashley, Phil Heath. Oh no, it's probably something like 12, 13, something like that.
Oh, before we get into the tour, this is oh God, what's his name? It's right there. Ant Bales' gym, where he has. You said he has all the equipment from the original Temple gym there, or a lot of it?
Because there's a franchise. There's about 10 of them now. The Ultra Flexes. The first one was in Leeds, where I used to train. It used to be called Flex Gym, and then a guy called Charlie, who I've known, is a good bodybuilder in the area, quite well-off guy, successful guy financially. He's a financial advisor. He decided to buy this gym and call it Ultra Flex, and then they're popping up all over the country now.
1,000 pound leg calf raise.
Yeah, and he bought all the gym equipment off Dorian, and then he distributed certain pieces to different Ultra Flexes that wanted them. So Ant got the calf raise, the hack squat, the squat rack, which I squatted on a few weeks ago, which was amazing. The original pullover machine, the famous one there.
Yeah.
That hack squat. There you go. Look, that was the one that Chris Cormier was throwing up on.
I used all these on that day.
You did. Yeah. So you've used all this equipment.
That was the first weekend I ever met you. Remember?
That's right, yeah, and also I think some of the dumbbells as well as some of the weights. But they've caged it off. They are my birthday card from Lee Priest and Chris.
Happy birthday, you cunt!
Yep, they are. Lots of love from Chris. And Lee.
Yeah, that's what it says. Happy birthday, cunt! Enjoy your day custard tarts with Cumfield. Oh my God!
Yeah. No, because when we were on the tour, when we got to Nando's, I ate these custard tart things called the Portuguese custard dessert, like pastry with custard in them. So obviously Lee would give me a lot of shit for eating them. So whenever we're at Nando's, I always take pictures of them and put it on the group chat, and we make sort of abusive comments to each other. That's my old apartment, the penthouse one that I got kicked out after 6 months for partying too much. That's the one that Lee Priest was cleaning. That was on the quayside in Newcastle. That was the one with the Millennium Bridge view. I was only living there 6 months. They booted me out. Too many parties, wild parties.
I mean, the one weekend I was there in Birmingham with you, I had rented an apartment and we had a party, and I'm actually surprised we didn't get kicked out, honestly.
Yeah, say no more.
It had to be like 30 people in there. So this is Newcastle. Yeah.
Yeah, my old stomping grounds. It was nice, yeah, because there was a gym that I took Lee Priest to called Viking Gym in Hebburn up in West Castle Gateshead, Newcastle. And they were moving premises. They got moved to a bigger premises. So Chris says, "Oh, you're going to go to the..." And I was like, "Well, that's my birthday weekend." He said, "Well, I'll drive down from Glasgow. Me and my girlfriend Claire." He says, "If you and Lauren want to go." So I got a nice hotel on the quayside, and it was only a couple of days after we'd finished the Terrence Ruffin tour. So this was one of the, I think this was the final day at Cuba Keelan's, the IFBB Pro, his gym. He's got an Ultra Flex as well in Rotherham, and his wife Megan Sylvester, she won Tampa last year. Figure.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So she was there. So those two, they approached me, and I've already announced the dates, and they said, we do an annual thing for all our MK coaching clients. He says, and we did one last year with Ryan Terry, Jamie Johal, Jamie the Giant. I forget, there was a couple other names. And he says, we had like 150 people there. He said, literally just my clients and all the coaches that coach underneath me, like kind of, part of my coaching team. So he said, we could actually coincide the date. We booked this beautiful venue called the Magna Arena or something in Sheffield. And he said, I'd like to book Terrence for it. So I said, yeah, it's brilliant. So it was absolutely fantastic. This was the one down in Frome. Dean White, the 212 Pro. Yeah. He was he's got a gym down in Frome, just right down south, down in Somerset, past Bristol. And because he wanted to start doing these because he's seen what I've been doing with the tours, and he's like, Giles, I wouldn't mind, I see that what you're doing. I think they're really, really good for the gym, and I think we'd like to start, because his girlfriend's a pro as well. She was wellness, but she switched to natural bikini. So Tilda, she's with Hostile, and they both messaged me and they said, look, we'd really like to have Terrence, and we did it, and it went really well. And it's funny because everyone in the audience there was guys like in sweatshirts. There was like probably 40, 50 guys there, and they're all there. And I was listening to the questions and I was thinking, these aren't just bodybuilding fans. These are like Terrence Ruffin fans. And anyway, at the end of the seminar, everyone kind of queued up and just one by one, they were like just stripping off, and they all looked like they were all classic competitors. Like pretty much every single one of them were all classic guys that had traveled from all over to literally have one-on-one posing with Terrence.
Wow.
So they were like, and I was like, holy shit, these guys, I didn't spot them. Like, see these guys there, they just look like normal bodybuilders.
Sure.
But they were all like competing in 1 week and 2 weeks. And then Terrence did his full routine. It was crazy. So it was a really good day. And then we went back to Bath, which is a beautiful city. And we went to the steakhouse, and I said to Chris, you go for a couple of drinks, mate? Come on, there's a couple of nice bars over there. And Terrence says, guys, he said, I'm just going to go for a walk. He says, I'll see you in the morning. So I said, all right. And so he put on Chat GPT, because it's a very historic town with the Roman baths and everything.
Yeah.
He said, give me a guided tour of Bath. So he said, for a couple of hours that night, he was doing all his cardio by walking around. You literally go into the building to building, and it was giving him like all this info. So it was, it was really, really good. That was the MK coaching one. That was in the Magna Arena thing. So that was really, really good as well. It was brilliant. And did you see Mark Hector?
I think that was earlier.
Go on to the next video and have a look at Mark Hector, because Mark Hector's now being prepped by Cuba. And they are, look at what, remember Mark Hector used to have weak legs. Look at his legs now.
Wow. Big change.
He was absolutely, honestly, as soon as he was walking onto the stage, I was like, that's not the same Mark Hector, because he's had that shoulder injury, and he's had shoulder surgeries and everything. And I couldn't believe it. He looks like he's gone up a level now. He looked absolutely phenomenal. I mean, look at the legs. Because I remember when he turned pro in the Amateur Olympia, I think it was 2018 in UK, and he had those beautiful wide shoulders, the kind of the narrow kind of column Dexter Jackson waist. But he always lacked, like in the legs, the hamstrings, the calves, the sweep. And I thought, okay, and I remember thinking even like a couple of years ago, I was thinking, here's a guy that could be nipping on Samson's heels. And obviously because of his shoulder injury, for whatever happened, he's not really quite, because he's been second and third and fourth in pro shows. Yeah. But I thought, okay, here's a guy who really needs to is he ever going to go to that next level? So when he stepped on stage here, I just couldn't believe. I mean, literally seeing that up close was absolutely mind-blowing, because plus, and also you see the difference between the Open and Classic.
Sure. I mean, geez, looks like a 50-pound difference right there.
Yeah, I mean, look how good he looks. I mean, just, and Terrence was a good sport. He's like, yeah, come on, get him up. Let's do it, So Terrence didn't say no to anything that they wanted him to do. It was really accommodating, really professional. And to be honest, I knew he'd be good to work with, but he was a real professional and a real pleasure to work with.
Yeah, because you've had, you've had success with every single person you brought over there. You've had Lee Priest, Ronnie Coleman, Andrew Jacked.
Wesley.
Keep going. Who?
Wesley
Vissers.
Ashley Cotwasser, Brandon Curry, Phil Heath.
Phil was the first one, right?
Phil was, that was 2019. That was the Globe Muscle Pro Tours. And then Dan Solomon came to me and said, hey, look, I spoke to Phil. He loves what you're doing. Why don't we kind of collaborate, and we'll back you up with some social media stuff and media and promotion. And, you look after the athletes well and make sure they're taken care of. And we'll sort of have a mutually beneficial sort of agreement. So I had that meeting with him, with Dan and Jake at the 2019 Arnold. Yeah. And then we just all shook hands and said, okay, then, let's see how it goes. And 6 years later, here we are.
Wow. So usually when you finish up one, you're already starting to think about another one.
Oh, tell me about it. Well, I've got two I'm literally working on as we speak. I mean, there's one I've got to finalize probably by tomorrow, and then I need to really quickly pull the other one together as well. So I've got a lot on my plate right now, Ron. Yeah.
So these UK fans of bodybuilding, classic and all that, they're very fortunate, because these seminars or these tours, the seminars that you put on, we haven't had anything like that in the US probably since the 1980s. Because I remember hearing about like Tom Platz coming around and doing seminars, and it would be packed. Lee Haney, but we haven't done those in years over here.
But Terrence said to me, he said, Giles, we don't get the turnout in America. He said, there's no real appreciation for it like there is when I come to places like Europe, because we took him to an expo the weekend before. And obviously he was like the biggest name there. It wasn't a big expo. It was but they wanted and they were willing to pay his flight. So I thought, okay, well, we'll work together and I can build a tour around it, which is what I did.
Yeah.
And like I do with Matthew at the Euromuscle show, with Ronnie and everything like last year. And, we sort of work together, and obviously I make it really worth the athletes' while, or the legends' while, to sort of, okay, well, if you're not just coming for the expo, you're coming for the X amount of appearances. So that's how I sort of team up with these these expos, and it kind of works really, really well because everyone wins.
So these guys. Did Terrence know he was going to end up with the whole stage full of guys in front like this?
Yeah, they just got the stage, and he said, "Hey, Terrence," and Cuba said, "Terrence, we're just going to get all my kind of coaching athletes on stage." And Terrence like, "Yeah, bring them on, get us do it." They're Bodybuilders Classic, and then he obviously had Mark, who just kind of came walking onto the stage. I mean, the stage creaked when he got on it. My God. So it was good. It was good. He was kind of up for anything. He was really, really, he's with all these guys. And the thing is, that's a huge honor for them as well. But the atmosphere was brilliant. Everyone was going nuts. I mean, everyone loved it. There's Mark Hector on the right there. Let's see, sat there. That's his training partner, that guy. He had a really good physique as well. So fantastic legs on him.
So these guys can all say they shared a stage with Terrence Ruffin now.
Yeah, exactly.
Legit. True story. Good stuff.
It was brilliant. It was really, really good. It was a fantastic time. I had a great time. And I was only knackered for about a day afterwards as well, because sometimes these tours absolutely wipe me out. But had a cool weekend in Newcastle, my birthday. And I'm just ready, working on the next ones now, mate. Yeah, look at the size of his legs now.
Creak.
I mean, he's like, his calves, everything, and his hamstrings, it's kind of everything's popping now. Yeah. So, because I said to him, I said, look at that. I mean, look, from that angle, you can really see the density of his legs. They're more like 4D now. They've got proper depth to them. And look at it, like the adductors, his calves. I mean, I don't ever remember him having decent calves, but like his calves look really, really good now. Like they're really, like they're world class now. I
would never suspect this guy had bad calves looking at this right there.
I know, it's crazy. So whatever he's done since he's been working with Cuba, it's absolutely working. That the magic is definitely happening. So I think he said he's doing.
It said Milan, September 7th.
He said he's doing. He's doing Italy.
So that's not till September. He's in fantastic condition for someone.
That's his off-season condition, mate.
Wow.
No, he stays with it. If you look at his Instagram, these aren't old videos he's posting when he's training and posing. These are like off season. He keeps it really, really, really tight. So I mean, imagine if he could grow even more on this prep, because whatever he's doing, he looks absolutely sensational. And I think honestly, I think he's gonna shock it. He's kind of doing. I think he's gonna do what I've wanted to see him doing for the last few years, because he was kind of not. It was frustrating to see him, because I thought he'd be like a Samson that would just keep going up and up and up and up and up and keep getting better and better and better. And then he kind of just the career wasn't really on fire, but I think he's done what he needed to do. And I think he's going to go up a level. And I think that's what I predict. And I think he's going to shock a few people and may rub out quite big names in September.
Right on. Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah. That was his last show. He was second here at the Big Man Weekend. Was it second or third? Was it third?
He was up there somewhere. That was last summer.
Hang on. What was it? Yeah, when he did the Big Man, he was like, was he third or fourth or something? But he was, it was fourth. I'm sure it was fourth. But he was coming off like that really bad shoulder injury, because like he really struggles to get into like the radial bicep. And if you notice that because before we got on stage with Terrence, he walked over and he said to Cuba, he whispered something, and I thought, oh, he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to get up, because they were going, come on, Mark, get up. And he was just in the audience, and I just thought, oh, he's not. But what it was, I think he was telling Cuba that he can't hit certain poses. So he's just going to, like, if you notice when he's, Terrence is doing like the most muscular ever, he just does like a front lat spread, because he struggles to get into certain poses.
Yeah, I mean, people, like, I'm getting my shoulder replaced 3 weeks from today. And not that anyone needs to worry about me competing ever again, but I can't do a front double bicep, a front lat spread.
Wow.
I can't do a hands overhead over abdominal thigh, because that arm doesn't even go up. I can't put my left arm overhead at all. So yeah, when you have a shoulder injury, mine's not an injury. It needs to be replaced. It really affects so much, not just the training, but it's bad enough. There are certain poses you can't even hit at all.
Wow. Well, about 8 months last year, I couldn't, when I had my torn shoulder, I couldn't train chest or shoulder for 8 months. I just had to do back, arms, and legs over and over again. It really, really sucked. So there's Lewis Breed there. Look, he made because I said to him, I said, Lewis, hang on a minute, you're from further down south. He said, yeah, I've driven 3 hours to be here.
Wow.
And it's not like it's not motorways, all those horrible little windy roads and roundabouts and stuff. So he came. I said to him, I really appreciate you coming up, mate. He says, no, Giles. He says, you brought Lee Priest down here. He says, you brought Terrence Ruffin. He says, there's Dean White there. He says, I really appreciate the fact that, he said, we've never had that caliber of bodybuilders brought into our area. He says, so if you're, and he says, I appreciate the fact that you let me train with Lee Priest when I brought him down to Muscle Machine Gym in near Newquay. Back in January. He says, it's for me to drive up. He said, I want to support what you're doing. He says, in the end of the day, he said, I find it really motivating as well.
No, it's cool that you're obviously most of these guys only see each other at contests, maybe expos. So these tours, you're really bringing them, especially to their home gyms and everything. It's really refreshing to see this.
Yeah, and honestly, everyone in the audience, because I was listening to questions and I was thinking, these aren't just bodybuilding fans; these are like proper Terrence Ruffin fans. They had real knowledge. I was so impressed. But it was such a good tour. It was, and it's nice because I've added a couple of new places and new couple of clients onto the database as well. So kind of makes the tours easier to put together on the next one and the next one. Yeah. So it was really good. 10 out of 10.
Good stuff. All right. Jesus, more and more. Yeah.
Yeah, see what I mean? They were just all getting up and hitting poses, and Terrence was just like, he's so professional. I mean, he didn't miss a beat. And he was also managed to get him in the studio as well, do a podcast for the Olympia channel. That was really good as well. Yeah. Because I kind of miss doing the actual interviews and stuff sometimes. It was afterwards I was like, I said to Lauren, I said, I'm really missing doing these interviews actually. I said, once I'm doing it, I really get into it and I really enjoy it.
Well, you built a whole studio there,
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That was at Strength Asylum Gym.
Wow.
That's where I took Phil Heath there. I took Ronnie there. I took Andrew Jack there. Wesley, Ashley Cartwasser. They always support us. This is a fantastic gym in the Northwest. So it's only about an hour and a half from my house as well.
So how many locations in all was it?
We did like 4 plus the expo.
Right on. Okay.
It wasn't a huge tour, but it was perfect. It was perfect. Very, very. It was just a really good one. Everything was brilliant. Everything went according to plan.
Congratulations on another successful Olympia All-Star Tour, Giles. Next time we talk, I want you to have a number for me. I want to know if you've done 10, 12, because I think it's at least 10 at this point.
Well, do you count the one I did in 2006 with Lee Priest?
Sure. Well.
Okay, 2006, 2019, Phil Heath, 2020, Brian Curry, 2021, Ashley, 20, didn't do any 22 or 23, so that's 5, plus 6, plus 2, that's what, 13? Hang on, 5. And then I did 6 last year, so that's 11. And then I did Lee Priest in January, and then I did this one, so that's 13 tours I've done now.
Right on. Wow. They need to do one more because we don't want to end on 13.
Well, a few weeks, you'll see.
This is the famous, you always get a good shot of you walking up through the gates of the Tiger Towers or somebody.
You got to put the music on, mate.
Oh, let's see. I hope I don't. Well,
oh, no, you can't because of copyright, can you?
No, that's what I'm saying. I better not.
Yeah. That was because they are. Look, Andrew Jack.
Yes.
Phil 2019.
Okay, Samson.
Samson. That was in 22. I think just before, after he'd done. Yeah, after he took 4th at the Arnold.
Yeah.
So he came up and trained at my local gym, and then we took Terrence to my local gym. I've started to like that sign now because the gym used to be called Legends, and then they changed it to Queensbury Barbell, and they put that really. I thought it looked a bit Blue Oyster Bar to me. So, and I was like, because you can see it from the street out on the front road, as Lauren. Look. Yeah. And so it was. But I like that. But that's my local gym. That's only 4 minutes drive from my house.
Wow. Yeah, you made it sound like a dungeon. That doesn't look like a dungeon to me, Giles.
Oh, it's beautiful. No, it was good. It was good before the Adam and Gareth took it over. These 2 ex-army guys, and they just basically bought 2 containers worth of equipment, and just every day you'd see all these new pieces coming in. Lauren's been teaching yoga and Pilates out there. Actually, she's quite enjoying it. That's where she is right now. Actually, unless she's come home.
Oh, there you go.
It's my local gym. I love it. I'm going in 2 hours, 3 hours.
All right. Well, I gotta make sure you get your meals in. Well, that's it. That wraps it up, guys. So the Toronto Pro is happening Sunday. I'll do some sort of coverage for that, I'm sure. So put your notifications on. We've wrapped up everything. And that's it, man. Giles, thank you so much. It's another episode of Power Hour. I want to thank Euromuscle and Matthew Purcell again for sponsoring the channel and the show. It's been fantastic working with him all these past couple months. And I'm only regretting that I can't go because I chose to get my shoulder replaced instead. If I waited till after Amsterdam, the next available appointment with this particular surgeon was November. No, so this
Get it done.
Oh, dude,
get it done.
People ask me, how long is it going to take I said, the rehab, I don't care. Trust me, nothing. I've spoken to so many people. My brother had this surgery done 4 weeks ago. Same surgery.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He's
He doesn't train. Does he train or?
No, he worked construction for years, so his shoulder got messed up, but still said whatever pain, from the surgery, it's nothing compared to what you're going through now. So
look at Crizzo. Look at Crizzo. I mean, he got through it and he's looking better than ever now. And I think one of the reasons I cancelled mine is because the pain went away a couple of weeks before. And I just thought, well, I'm never going to compete again, and I might not be able to press super heavy dumbbells over my head for shoulders. But I just thought I don't want to. Plus, I would have had to have kind of cancelled the Lee Priest tour in January. And I'm really glad I didn't do that now because it was amazing.
Well, you healed with peptides.
Peptides, intermittent fasting, 0 carbs, 0 sugar to reduce inflammation, cardio to get the blood moving around the body, get the healing going. And I did those BPC and TB 500. Did that 11 weeks. And it's funny when I finished the last vial because I'd used the injectable. As soon as I finished the last vial, a couple of days later, the pain went.
Wow.
Because sometimes I'd be waking up in the night with so much pain, I'd be going to take painkillers and just kind of get back to sleep because it was just agony. But I just did it's gone from like a 9 out of 10 to like a 1 out of 10 now. I get a little twinges sometimes, but I'm pretty much, I'm glad I didn't have the surgery. But I think by the sounds of it, you need to get that surgery.
Oh, there's no, I appreciate the people because I know they mean well. They'll tell me, use BPCs. I said, you don't understand. It's like, if I cut your arm off, BPC is not 157 is not going to make a new arm grow. If you have stage 4 pancreatic cancer, it's not a cure-all for everything.
Yeah.
If you have arthritis for years and years where the bone's been grinding away on bone and the bone's just completely degraded away, you can't regrow that tissue. We don't regrow bones as human beings. So
could you imagine how you'd feel in like 10, 15 years, in the winters, like the pain it would cause you, the discomfort and all that. It'd be a nightmare. Get it done now.
It's so bad now. It wakes me up every hour to hour and a half while I'm asleep. I wake up.
Does it?
Oh yeah.
Shit! I didn't realize it was that bad.
There's like no comfortable position. Like
I bet your wife does her head in with all your whinging.
Oh, I try not to complain. I try not to complain too much. I try not to. But anyway, that will wrap it up, guys. We appreciate you watching Power Hour. Giles, I always love talking to you. It's the highlight of my week, probably, if I'm being honest with you.
I'm nearly back on 3-plate squat as well. Nearly.
Dude, you're ahead of me.
Nearly. I want to, because my target is I want to get to 3 plates, like proper deep reps, no bullshit knee wraps or whatever. I want to get to like 6 to 8 good deep proper, not half reps, proper deep reps, and then I'm going to hold it at that weight for as long as I can because I feel like that's my target and I'm nearly there now. So so Jake Wood actually messaged me and he says I've been meaning to ask you about your leg routine or something. I was like, you cheeky bastard, right? I'm gonna get to work on the squat rack now. It's funny, I trained legs at that Viking on the weekend and I didn't squat and I trained really hard with all the other exercises. And the next day, even when I walked out of the gym, I honestly I felt like I hadn't even done a proper leg workout because I didn't barbell squat.
I know what you mean.
So I just honestly, and even my quads were sore the next day and I was like, it's not that same deep kind of like stimulation or soreness. It's like I felt like I cheated myself. Almost like I almost feel like I haven't trained legs for 2 weeks, but I have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. If it's like it's a sense of guilt. If you don't squat, you really feel you didn't train legs properly. You just didn't.
Yeah, because you can do chest without doing bench press, or you can do without arms without doing barbell curls or line extensions. You can still have a good workout. But the one thing is when you train, it's like if I don't do underhand barbell rows or back, I don't really feel like I've had a proper back workout. So I think you've always got to center it around the surround the basics. Yeah, I just don't think you can escape it. And all these new machines like pendulum squats and all, and also, do you know what really troubles me, Ron? I saw a guy doing the booty blaster, the glute, doing the hip thrust, and like literally, like they're air, you know, thrusting the air with their gyrating, and I just thought, oh my god! And this guy didn't look. He looked quite masculine, let's say.
Okay, all
right. So
right.
I was like, and no one was looking, and I was looking around, going, "That guy's on the booty blaster. What's he doing?" But apparently, it's like a lot of guys are doing this now, and I just think, well, get onto the squat rack. But these pendulum squats, all these fancy like hack squats, all these different machines. I just squats, leg press, leg extensions, you know, adductors, maybe machines if you've got any energy at the end. But I don't think you can escape the basics, mate. I think it worked for Dorian, worked for Ronnie. You know, work for Arnold, and I just think that's good enough for them. It's certainly good enough for me.
Absolutely. All right, we'll end it on that note, guys. So leg training advice from Tiger.
Leg training advice from Tiger. That sounds like is that an oxymoron?
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, we'll do it then. So thanks everybody for watching Power Hour with myself and the one and only Giles Tiger Thomas, who is now 49 years old, enjoying the last year of his 40s. Please catch us next time, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye now. Boop.